this gives all the attendants an overview of the work of the project. Later, Nicola Reber will also speak about another project of another product of our project. But now let's listen to the contribution from our guests from other projects. And I would like to invite Galia Terzieva from project CRISPO, if you want to share your screen. But before doing so, let me remind all the attendants that you can ask questions using the questions and answer box. You can write them, and we will receive, and in the after the presentation, after all presentation, there will be a period of debate in which we will address these questions. So please, Galia, you're welcome to share your screen if you want.
Thank you. I'll try to demonstrate my technical skills with Zoom. Once again, I hope it works. Share. I'll try to share different screens. My name is Galia Terzieva, and I'm coordinating a project which is named CRISPO. This is a project which is referring to security and protection from knowledge synergies. And I'm very happy that within 18 months, all of the networks, the first kickoff networks that have been launched by DG ECO, that we manage even with the facilitation of DG ECO and our proactive approach to meet and to communicate and to exchange a lot of information. I'm very happy to be at this event because I see that we are more and more people within our huge community in European Union and outside of the Union who are thinking in the same way. So it's for me, it's very positive and very promising for the future of the database policies and database strategies that can further support proactive people and people with innovative and smart approach how to solve out issues, because we are living in an environment where crises and disasters are multiplying and evolving. And as we are getting into a globalized world, we start considering the part of the positive and some negative impacts, because practically the crisis management related issues are very much impacted by one of the mega trends, and this mega trend is that rapid development, smartening of economy and globalization of economy, and coming out with that trends deterioration of the social and health conditions in which we are living, and also climate conditions. Our project was focused also on the target group that the previous speaker already addressed, and all speakers were talking about. We tried to put together science, civil protection authorities, crisis management authorities, practitioners with real first responders. And we try to map positive and negative experiences in order to develop multi-hazards open tool for planning and risk assessment. It's not ideal. It's maybe very simple. We try to collect, first of all, within the project, we defined the existing trends within multi-hazards in order to know on which type of risk assessment approach we are going to focus. So we had a kind of a research which was cross different sectors, involved different actors in many countries. We involve in our network all the Balkan countries, Austria, Finland, Portugal, Spain, Italy, Slovakia, the Czech Republic. We have quite broader network of partners, and we try all the time to involve highly positioned decision makers, and also the decision makers from the middle management and decision makers from the local management, mayors and villages and towns in different countries, and in order to assess exactly their needs. And our idea was to assess the trends in multi-hazards, and based on that, we collected case studies that we'll be happy to transfer it to all partners, and even to partners of roadmap, because maybe you can use those case studies for different purposes to improve other steps in risk assessment. We use these case studies to develop a kind of a benchmark on 5 different multi-hazards prone events. We develop a benchmarking tool to try to assess what are the capacities, equipment, measures, and intervention types that are needed within 5 typical and expected in the future multi-hazards events. This was our idea, and based on that, to develop the online tool, which is very basic. I'll show it to you. Our tool is stressing on the interdependencies of modern threats, risks, and we focus on the need for economic efficiency, because crises are expanding the bubble of public finances, and also finances. Today, insurance companies are trying also to include in their contracts more specific and more detailed restrictions and clauses, because they see that they will not be able in the future to cover insured objects of interest if it keeps going like that. It means that this economic efficiency is very important, and it's very important because to persuade the voters in each country that investment in the risk is the most important, and that we need to invest in data structuring and data collection. This is it's very difficult. I suppose that all of you, no matter in which country you are living, that you face that problem. These problems are faced even in Switzerland. That it's for them the country which has maybe the best crisis management risk security models established, that they also have problems to convince the voters that it's very important to invest in security and safety, and crisis management and civil protection is part of that. So it's still, there is that gap that we need a lot to do. I say we because I consider that we all, it's maybe our mission and our responsibility, that we are those who can try to, on one side, to work closer with all decision makers, and on the other side to develop very interesting awareness and social programs for all type of actors, and even for the general public, because general public in certain moment of evolving disasters, the public is becoming also part of our staff, also part of our support teams that can intervene in any reaction or in the recovery, and they are important also for the greater awareness of adopting and accepting measures, because the measures for protection and building of resilience towards risks is something that should be accepted by everybody. to have this concise approach. So that's why even communication is very important. And our tool is trying also to examine the challenges in the context of the community response practices. So this tool is not, it's not developed for very sophisticated analysis. It's very simple tool. And we try to link the system adoption with political and economic provisions, and to determine changes in structural and non-structural prevention measures, because it costs money and it also costs a change of mindset. In many cases, it requires changing not only of legislation and investment in capitals, but it also requires changing of attitudes and behaviors of people. I'll skip some of the slides because I have limited time. Why it's important to valorize and capitalize. This is what we did within the preparation of the tool, that we try to assess all the hazards, the drivers, and then to assess also the good practices and the bad practices in mitigating or reacting and recovering from particular hazards and their risks. And we focus a lot on adequate equipment, effective response in such crisis, in ad hoc arrangements concerning the situational awareness, and ad hoc leadership communication, which is for us, it's very important. We focus on those details because they are very important on local level for the mayors. We wanted to communicate the risk assessment and the mitigation of risk or disaster risk reduction and management, the management of the risk to communicate within as a social importance. For that, we stressed on and accentual on the critical infrastructure disruptions caused by pandemics, the damages from natural disasters, scarcity of food, water, migration due to drought. Today we have migration due to wars in neighboring countries, epidemic in combination with public disorders, smartening of the systems, and landslides linked to public infrastructure, tourism affected by earthquakes. These, I don't know, 8 examples are considered by the partners who have been involved, engaged in our activities as trends ongoing in our countries or in general in the European Union and in the neighboring countries. Then we, based on the data collected, we defined categories of the assessment tool. We have type of threats, risk actions, prevention, strategic planning, and different type of vulnerable groups. In the part 1 of the tool, we have a definition of the type of disruption. And in the beginning, we developed it in a very long list. We used the last register of UNDSR from April 2021, and then we consulted that tool with students studying risk assessment and disaster risk management, and we confronted them within a hackathon with mayors and local actors, practitioners, and they said that for them too many details, it's a kind of a burden, that they needed to be more structured and in grouped, that for them they will understand it within their reality. Then we listed, of course, some subcategories of threats based on that experience. Then we defined the drivers, because for us these drivers are very important. We think that we need any time in the risk assessment also to take into consideration either we call them megatrends, drivers, or whatever, It's something that can be at certain moment triggering or multiplying the effect and the negative impact of a certain hazard. We define the type of agents also that can be causing or be the source of the hazard, because this hazard can be stationary, it can be sleeping hazard, and it can be somehow woken up. Within multi-hazards, we tried also to define the list of typical multi-hazards. It means that those using that tool, even if they don't know anything about multi-hazards, if they find a structured list of multi-hazards, they will start thinking about that. So it doesn't mean that the person who is using that tool will be using that tool to support the local risk assessment process, but it's also will be used as an awareness tool for them to learn from the others. The tool, maybe it's better that I just share the tool directly. If you consider it will be, or I just go. This tool was developed on, finally we decided with the students that we skip the complex scientific approach to risk assessment, and we really simplify it and make it very simple just for local use, because we would like to target the local managers, crisis managers. Sorry for that. That's why we divided the tool into main two groups, that we have a group of vulnerability against the group of equipment, general preparedness, and capacity. So we introduced two levels of that tool, and we assigned different points, and we assigned between 4 or 5 levels of the risk. So then by feeling that online questionnaire, the system behind the system, which is not visible for the users, they are points. So they don't know that what is, how is calculated and point ranked, in order to avoid that some people they're trying, to manipulate these figures. So we have decided with the students that we follow the vulnerability as a system vulnerability, physical vulnerability, which considers the affected critical, strategic, and soft targets. Community vulnerability, we assess within the community vulnerability all type of assets, tangible and non-tangible, including also the moral and mental and behavior part of the issues of the context and discourses in the community. We have special topic on health vulnerability, because we go to many different types of groups with different health or developmental issues, so we need to take care for them. Social vulnerability, environment, and financial vulnerability. These are our type of vulnerabilities. Of course, we'll be very happy if we can share with all of you the link of that tool, and if we get any feedback, positive, negative, the best is the negative impact, negative feedback, because we can learn what we can change there, because we would like to improve it. It will be very good to see the reaction of everybody. The same for the capacity. We split the capacity, the scoring card for the capacities: actors, assets, policies, knowledge. We have special one capacity for the knowledge, because we, based on the case studies and surveys, we consider that most of the interviewed people, and within this case study, they consider that their knowledge and experience was the basic of everything. No matter what type of equipment they have for taking a decision, the most important is to have this knowledge, and especially the experience, and especially access to data, and access to good quality of data, and access to new technologies, for technologies that can help them to reconnaissance the evolving disaster, and etc. I'm focusing on the knowledge, once again stressing, because we know that in each country, the local level of mayors who are changing every 4 years, usually in all European unions, that the voting period is, the credentials are for 4 years. So if the mayor doesn't get another period, it means that we change. We have a great fluctuations of practically the crisis managers on local level, dealing with many local or cross-regional extraordinary events or disasters, and we need to find a way how to transfer all these new technologies, data, etc., to their level, because we can work on national level. But if we don't find a way how to transfer it to local level, it might be a kind of a disbalance, because our big pictures and very sophisticated scenarios and everything, it can be brilliant, but if it's not usable or able to be practically involved in the work of the mayors, the whole community from the ground will not be ready to accept and to adopt and to be better aware in the sense of risk management. Then I said the scaling of the risk, and one part of our tool is about scenarios. This part is not finalized, because we still are thinking how to develop it. We would like to have a kind of one part of the dashboard of that tool that can attract all partners to make their own simple scenarios. So we, based on the case studies we prepared, we computed all the data as scenarios. It will be nice if this is what just popped up in my mind, that maybe it was our mistake or lack of time or press of time that we could have addressed all partners from the other networks, because I see that you have also your different case studies, and it will be very good to give them that scenario. Most of the practitioners, why I'm talking about the scenarios, apart from the preparedness and awareness and etc., which is part of the assessment, these scenarios are very good for the mayors and first responders on local and regional level, because they say that for us it's very important to have not only our knowledge local, but we would like to have even the knowledge from other countries. And instead of investing a lot of money or waiting for the next disaster from that type in our village, it's better to know how the village in France or in Norway, how they sorted out. So if for most of the practitioners, it's very experienced. Even we had a meeting in Chambéry with one general there, and he said that, and I mean, I fully respect him because he's like a top crisis manager. He said that the most important is not only local, but multinational experience, because in each country we have different approach, even working habits, processes, and it's very good to learn from the others. He said this is something that you don't need to invest 10 years in learning. It's just you read somewhere, or you have a discussion with people who already solved certain problem. So that's why we have those scenarios. This is just for demonstrating the events that had happened in other countries. Now I'll try to share screen with the tool. I try to share. First, I can share you that this is our website. Our website, it has also presents or promotes similar activities. Of course, we are not, our activities were driven more on from the crisis managers or practitioners. So if you find that we are not too much science oriented, just let us know. We tried otherwise in all of our events and online webinars. We involve even anytime we involved at least one university from different country. Even we involved the Disaster Risk Management Institute from Southeast Asia. Because we found out that we know that in Southeast Asia, the investments of international donors community within the risk mitigation is much higher than in European Union, for example. But maybe we learn from there. We found out that we are practically on the same track. We are using different similar technologies and similar novelties of software solutions. So we have a lot of presentations and webinars that can. Yes, we have to finish. Okay, we have to finish. Wait, I just showed the. Yes, do you see now that tool? Do you see the tool?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So this is the simple. I just show it and I'll finish. This is the simple tool. Everybody comes to that website. I can send it to you to check it. It's you create your own, you open your own card and you go through it. You have the disaster, extraordinary event, hazard. First, you describe it somehow. There are lists you can select. And then we have vulnerability, exposure, and capacity. These are the two simple categories. And once you finish it, it appears something like that, that you get a rating of your risk level. Plus, it's possible to edit your card anytime, and you can open as many as you like cards, and you can read the cards of the other partners. Then you have the scenario, which is also based on assessment, scenario, knowledge for intervention. I try to, it's also like ID card. We have it very simple. Yeah, scenario, knowledge for that, equipment, support intervention actors, recovery measures, legal measures, and mitigation measures. So this is very basic things that can be done, and each mayor or whoever can play with that, but can also learn. So it will be, I would like to thank very much for the time that you have given to me, because I see that there is a huge interest to that event, and I hope that we can find a way how to integrate all these already developed tools and solutions, and how we can maybe develop one generator where all that informations are at one place. So thank you very much for your attention once again.
Thank you, Galia, from our side, from the Roadmap project, and also from all the audience. It was great that you shared with us the findings of your project, which we see that are very many things in common with our Roadmap project. And if the webinar